What's going on, everyone? It's Chris from 416 Coffee, and today I wanted to make a quick video explaining how to go about buying specialty coffee, especially if you're new to the space. So obviously, guys, I have 4 options in front of me here just from our own roastery. This isn't even all the options we have available right now. Then you include other roasters and all the information being thrown at you, and buying specialty coffee for the first time can be slightly overwhelming. So I'm here to make it super easy for you, and here are 3 things to consider when you're buying specialty coffee. So we're gonna go kind of from origin to roaster to kind of break down what to think about. So first of all, you're gonna wanna think about terroir, where that coffee's grown. So technically speaking, if we have higher altitude coffees, they tend to be more acidic, more bright, more fruity, some of those tones. So if you don't like that in your coffee, you're gonna wanna stick to lower altitude grown coffees because they're gonna be much more nutty, chocolatey, and approachable for you in that regard. So that's the first thing to consider, is terroir. Second thing, processing method. So obviously coffee beans grow inside of a cherry. Those cherries are harvested, and then they need to be, the flesh of the fruit needs to be removed from the actual seed inside, which is the bean, which is what we're drinking. So that's the second thing to consider, how that coffee was processed. Now, washed coffees tend to have cleaner finishes. Natural processed coffees tend to have longer finishes. And when we're talking about finish, I mean almost like, not quite an aftertaste, but how that coffee lingers in the mouth. And some of the flavors will be different depending on washed or natural processed. Now, there is also honey processed and fermentations. Those will kind of vary the taste as well. However, I'd say if you're seeing that on a tag, I would maybe ask some questions or investigate that particular processing method before you dive in and purchase that one. Just because the fermentation methods, they're producing a lot of very different flavors. It really depends on how the method's being done, and it's still new and very experimental. Lastly, obviously, roast profile. So guys, roast profile has been marketed us to death by Starbucks, by Tim Hortons, by some of the bigger guys, and that's because it is the easiest way to change the flavor of a coffee without actually changing the coffee. Obviously, lighter roasted coffees tend to have higher levels of acidity, and more medium roasted coffees tend to be a bit more subtle, and it kind of brings down some of that acidity. And then once you own a dark roast, bitterness seems to increase. There seems to be a happy medium, at least in my experience, where light roasted coffees tend to be more acidic, medium roasted coffees kind of tend to soften the acidity and bring out some of the nice natural sweetness, and then darker roasted coffees tend to be more bitter, I find. So that's kind of a personal preference thing that you're gonna have to play around with. Now, great news. Everything that I just said might have also felt slightly overwhelming. You're like, Chris, that seems like a lot of questions, a lot of stuff to know about, and I understand that we didn't even get into varietal, and there's a whole bunch of other things. But what I would suggest doing is trying a bunch of coffees and then deciding what you like based on that trial experience. So as long as you're drinking coffees that have that information available, you can start finding similarities among the coffees that you like. And you might find that you like a variety of different coffees, and that's great because that means you can try pretty much anything and you're gonna enjoy it. Also, if you're going to a good shop, the barista, the people working there, should have some experience with being able to guide you in the right direction for the coffee that might be right for you. They might be able to ask you some questions and all of that. And also, last but not least, guys, we have a great quiz. I'll link it below. You can do the quiz and it will tell you pretty much the best coffee for you that we have available right now, and that'll give you a great baseline and something to start as well. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I just wanted to make it so that specialty coffee didn't feel like such a black box to you, didn't feel so unapproachable. Hopefully it helped. And if you have any questions, comments, let me know, and I'll see you next time.